If a woman lets you touch this one specific place on her body, something inside her mind has already decided, not completely, not permanently, but enough that the door to her world has quietly opened. As a psychologist, I need you to understand something most men never realize. Attraction does not start with the body. It starts with safety, with comfort, with the invisible emotional calculations happening in a woman's mind long before your hand ever moves an inch closer to her. Most men believe physical touch creates attraction. They think the right move, the right moment, the right confidence will somehow make a woman want them. But the truth is far more subtle and far more powerful. In female psychology, touch is not the beginning of desire. It is the result of it. A woman's body is like a map of emotional boundaries. Every part represents a level of trust. The more emotionally vulnerable the area, the more psychological permission she must give before allowing it. Think about it. A casual handshake means nothing. A friendly hug means comfort. But when a woman allows your hand to rest on a certain place, the small of her back, something deeper is happening in her subconscious. That spot, right above her hips, is psychologically intimate. It's not overtly sexual, but it's deeply personal. It's a place that signals protection, guidance, closeness. When a man places his hand there, it creates a subtle dynamic in her brain. This man feels safe enough to lead my physical space. And here's what most men miss. Women are extremely sensitive to physical signals. Long before you think something romantic is happening, she has already evaluated your energy, your confidence, your emotional presence. She has decided whether your touch feels welcome or intrusive. If she gently moves away when you try to guide her there, that is information. Her mind is saying the emotional bridge is not built yet. But when she leans into it, when she stays, when her body relaxes instead of stiffening, that is not accidental. Her nervous system is quietly telling you something powerful. You have entered her circle of comfort, and comfort is the birthplace of attraction. This is where many men sabotage themselves. They rush the moment. They assume permission where there is none. They treat touch like a tactic instead of understanding it as communication. But the men who truly understand female psychology move differently. They observe. They notice subtle responses. They realize that attraction is not built through pressure. It is built through emotional gravity. When a woman lets you touch that place without hesitation, it means she already sees you differently from other men, not necessarily as her future partner, but as someone who has crossed the invisible line between stranger and possibility. And that line, once crossed, changes everything. Because in the female mind, physical closeness is never just physical. It is emotional permission expressed through the body. And the man who understands that suddenly becomes very difficult for her to forget. Let me tell you something that may challenge everything you think you know about attraction. Women are not responding to your hands. They are responding to what your presence makes them feel before your hands ever move. This is why two men can make the exact same physical gesture, placing a hand on the small of her back, and receive completely opposite reactions. One feels natural. The other feels uncomfortable. One draws her closer. The other pushes her away. The difference is psychological energy. A woman's brain is constantly scanning for emotional safety, not consciously, instinctively. In milliseconds, she reads posture, tone, eye contact, emotional stability, and confidence. Her mind asks a silent question. Does this man feel grounded, or does he feel needy? Needy energy creates tension. Grounded energy creates relaxation. When a man is desperate for approval, his touch carries pressure. Even if he says nothing, the emotional signal underneath says, please like me, please accept me, please validate me. Women feel that instantly, but when a man is comfortable in his own presence, his touch carries something very different. It communicates calm leadership, not dominance, not control, simply certainty in himself. That certainty is magnetic. So when a woman allows that small moment of physical closeness, what she is actually responding to is the emotional frame you have already built. She is responding to the quiet message your behavior has been sending since the moment you met. You didn't rush her. You didn't force conversation. You weren't trying to impress her every second. Instead, you created space for natural curiosity to grow. That alone separates you from most men, because the average man believes attraction must be chased. He believes effort equals value. More compliments, more attention, more messages, more pursuit. But female psychology often works in the opposite direction. Attraction grows in the presence of emotional tension, that subtle uncertainty that makes someone lean closer to understand you better. When you are calm, composed, and slightly mysterious, her brain begins filling in the blanks. She starts wondering what your life is like, what your story is, why you seem different from the men constantly trying to prove themselves. Curiosity is powerful. Curiosity turns into attention. Attention turns into emotional investment. And once a woman begins investing emotionally, her physical comfort naturally follows. That's why the small of her back becomes such a powerful signal. It is rarely the first touch, but it is often the first moment where closeness becomes intentional. She could step away, she could create distance, she could reposition herself. But when she stays, she is unconsciously acknowledging something important. Your presence does not trigger her defenses, and that is where attraction begins to deepen, because a woman's mind is far more connected to emotional experience than physical appearance. She remembers how you made her nervous system feel: calm, excited, curious, safe. When those feelings combine, her brain begins associating your presence with positive emotional stimulation. And when that happens, she starts wanting to be around you again. Not because you tried harder than other men, but because you made her feel something different. There is a quiet moment in every developing attraction that most men completely overlook. It's not when she laughs at your jokes. It's not when she responds to your messages. It's not even when she agrees to see you again. The real moment happens when her body begins trusting you before her mind fully explains why. This is where female psychology becomes fascinating. Women often experience attraction as a layered emotional process. Logic comes later, feeling comes first. Her brain begins registering small signals: the way you hold eye contact without staring too aggressively, the calm pace of your voice, the fact that you don't seem easily shaken by her reactions. These things create emotional stability, and stability is rare. Many men unknowingly project anxiety around women they like. Their words move too fast, their laughter feels forced, their body language becomes restless. They lean forward constantly as if trying to capture approval before it disappears. To a woman's subconscious, that behavior signals instability, but the man who understands psychological dynamics behaves differently. He allows silence to exist. He is comfortable when the conversation slows. He doesn't feel the need to fill every second with validation or humor. That calm presence sends a powerful message: my world does not revolve around winning you over. Ironically, that is what makes her more interested. Because when a woman senses that you are emotionally grounded, her mind begins exploring a new possibility. This man might actually lead an interesting life without constantly seeking validation. That curiosity creates respect. And respect is the foundation of long-term attraction. When she begins respecting you psychologically, small physical gestures start feeling natural instead of forced. Walking side by side becomes closer. Conversations become more personal. Moments of touch become less accidental and more comfortable. That's why the small of her back matters so much. It is not just a physical spot. It represents a shift in psychological distance. If she allows that space to be entered, it means she no longer sees you purely as an outsider. You have become someone who exists within her personal comfort zone. And the comfort zone is powerful territory. Inside that space, she begins observing you differently. She watches how you interact with others. She notices your humor, your patience, your emotional reactions. She studies the small details that reveal who you are beneath surface confidence. This is where many men ruin everything. The moment they feel progress, they become overeager. They escalate too quickly. They try to secure the outcome instead of allowing the connection to deepen naturally. But attraction is fragile. Pressure breaks it. The men who truly succeed in relationships understand pacing. They recognize that a woman's comfort grows through consistent emotional experience, not sudden intensity. So when she allows closeness, the smartest move is not to rush further. It is simply to remain the man she felt safe allowing closer in the first place. Because consistency builds trust, and trust quietly turns attraction into attachment. Here is the truth most dating advice will never tell you. The moment a woman feels emotionally safe with you, her mind begins imagining you in her life before she consciously admits it. Not in dramatic romantic fantasies, but in small, subtle ways. She wonders what it would feel like to spend more time with you. She becomes curious about your routines, your habits, your world. This is where attraction transforms into emotional investment. And emotional investment is the real turning point. When a woman begins investing her attention, her energy, and her curiosity into you, she is no longer just evaluating you as a stranger. She is quietly exploring the idea of connection. That's why those small physical signals matter so much. When she allows closeness at the small of her back, it's not simply tolerance, it's alignment. Her body language is synchronizing with the emotional comfort she has started to feel. She might not say it, she might not even fully recognize it yet, but her subconscious already understands. This man feels different. Now here's the part that separates ordinary men from the ones women never forget. Ordinary men chase confirmation. They push for labels, reassurance, constant communication. They want certainty immediately. But psychologically strong men understand something deeper. Mystery sustains attraction, not artificial games or manipulation, but a life that genuinely exists beyond the relationship. Purpose, direction, self-respect. When a woman senses that you value your own life as much as you value her presence, she begins seeing you as a partner rather than someone seeking approval. That shift is everything. Because attraction rooted in respect lasts far longer than attraction rooted in excitement alone. So if you ever notice that moment, when she doesn't pull away, when she relaxes as your hand rests gently at the small of her back, don't misinterpret it as ownership. It's not possession, it's permission. Permission to continue building something deeper. Permission to explore emotional closeness. Permission to show her that the calm confidence she sensed in you was real. And if you maintain that presence, something powerful begins happening inside her mind. She starts choosing you, not because you chased her harder than other men, but because being around you simply feels right. Now I want to ask you something personal. Think about the last time you truly felt a woman becoming comfortable around you. Not polite, not friendly, but genuinely relaxed in your presence. What was the exact moment you noticed the shift? Write that moment in the comments. I read them. And if this perspective helped you understand female psychology in a deeper way, take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Some men spend their entire lives confused about attraction, but the ones who understand these quiet psychological signals start seeing relationships in a completely different way.